UFC Fight Night Tybura versus Spivac. Most confident picks to least confident picks. We got all of the fights and fighters listed right here. If I am bolding the fighter, like Marcin Tybura, Damon Jackson, and so on, I have them going out there and winning their fights. But we want to list all the fighters I'm most confident with at the top of the list to who I'm least confident with at the bottom. Like I always say, underdogs are never going to be confident picks because they're always supposed to lose, but I see something in them that makes me predict them to win, but they're usually going to be at the bottom of the list. But if you do want to see all the bets that I am making for this UFC Fight Night Tybura versus Spivac card, we have the link in the description of this video, the top link down there, or I'm going to be pinning the comment to this video as well. If you want to see all the money lines I'm making, the props and the parlays for UFC Fight Night Tybura versus Spivac, it is literally $1.25 for an entire UFC fight card, where most people are going out there selling their bets for about $20 a card, and sometimes even more for crazy prices. So we have it pretty cheap on there. But let's get into the confident picks. Like I said, we're gonna go from the bottom, make our way to the top. So we're starting with Stephanie Luciano and Talita Alencar. Their last fight was on the Contender Series last year, and it was a draw. So that is kind of how close this fight is, and why I'm not going to go out here and say I'm confident in either girl to win. I got Luciano winning because I think she'll outstrike Talita Alencar in those later rounds with the striking and defend the takedowns earlier on in the fight. But again, their first fight was a draw, so if Luciano hasn't made the correct adjustments, has not made the correct improvements from the first fight, and Talita goes out there and looks a lot better than she did the first fight, this could easily be a Talita win. So very close one, probably one of the closest fights on the card. 55% for Stephanie Luciano. Youssef Zalal, I believe, we're going to check this right now, but I think Youssef Zalal is the biggest favorite of this entire card. He's minus 400 on the betting odds, is the number one biggest favorite. Danny Barlow's at number 2 at minus 350, but Youssef Zalal, the biggest favorite of the card. Is he going to be my most confident pick of the card? We're going to have to see. Youssef Zalal, I think he should be at least a 2-1 favorite, but am I thinking what some of these betting odds sites are saying? No, not at all. We have him at 68% confidence to go out there and beat Jarno Errens on this UFC Fight Night. I believe he's got the better wrestling, the better grappling, but I think Jarno Errens, if his takedown defense looks good, I have Errens being a slightly better striker than Youssef Zalal, so I still think Youssef's going to use that wrestling and grappling to edge it out on the scorecards, but is definitely not a confident pick there. For Youssef Zalal, 68% means I'm almost confident with Youssef Zalal to win. For Stephanie Luciano, that's a pick'em. Could go either way. Karl Williams, Jhonata, Diniz in the heavyweight division. We're going right down to the 50% range. I mean, I'm not confident at all in Karl Williams to go out there and get the win. I'm going to go 56%. I've been saying it kind of all week that it's going to be a domination either way. Whoever wins, Jhonata Diniz goes out there, gets the win. Karl Williams goes out there and gets the win. Either way, it's going to be an absolute domination for whoever is able to go out there and get the win, because if Jhonata wins, he's probably going to knock out Karl, and if Karl wins, he's probably going to dominate with the wrestling and grappling, win a decision, or maybe even TKO Jhonata Diniz with ground and pound later on in the fights. So I'm going to go Karl Williams to win, and I'm only 56% confident because he's a lot smaller than Jhonata Diniz. Jhonata, I believe, cuts to make the heavyweight limit. Karl's a pretty small guy for the weight class, and if Jhonata's able to stuff one takedown and just land big, powerful punches, heavyweight, anything is possible. He's very live as the dog, so 56%. Karol Rosa taking on Pannie Kianzad. I don't know what it is about Karol Rosa. I don't know what it is. She's my first confident pick of the card. I'm feeling weirdly very good about Karol Rosa to go out there and get the win. She's minus 200 on the betting odds, which makes sense. I'm even more confident than minus 200. I got her at 72% confidence, almost as a 3-1 favorite to go out there and beat Pannie. I think she's better everywhere. Better striking, better wrestling, better grappling. She's a bigger fighter than Pannie Kianzad as well. I don't necessarily see an avenue for Pannie Kianzad to go out there and win unless she is able to have just elite movement and countering abilities this fight and stay at range, defend every takedown, keep it on the feet, and counter Karol Rosa for 3 rounds. Then Pannie has a good chance of going out there getting the win. I don't think that happens. I feel good. Wherever the fight goes, Karol should be able to get the win. 72% for Karol Rosa. The biggest favorite of the card, the second biggest, I forgot. Youssef Zalal was the #1 biggest favorite of the card, but #2 is going to be Barlow, and we're not super confident in him. I'm going to be honest with you. Nikolay Veretennikov is a very, very tough guy to fight, especially on short notice. So we're going to have him as a 2-1 favorite at 66% confidence for Barlow. I do have him winning. He's a better striker. He's taller. He's lengthier. He's younger, but Nikolay's got a great chin, and he's got great power in his hands, so he is very, very live as the dog as well. So close one there, only 2-1 for Barlow. Charalampos Grigoriou, I always get that one wrong, in the bantamweight division. Am I confident in Grigoriou? God, I keep getting that one wrong. No, I'm not. He's kind of in between Karl Williams and Barlow. In my opinion, I'm going to put him at 60% confidence. He's an almost confident pick, but it's not a pick in my opinion. I think there's clear ways for Grigoriou to win. If he wants to grapple, I mean, it's probably pretty even if it goes there. But if it stays on the feet, which I think it will, Grigoriou is clearly the better boxer, clearly has the better chin than Kazama as well. But again, I mean, it's bantamweight MMA, and it's pretty a lot lower level bantamweight MMA than most fights on inside of the UFC. So, I mean, you never know. Kazama could go out there and upset. That's why we only got him at 60%. Yana Santos, Chelsea Chandler. This is the underdog everybody is predicting. Everyone out there is going for the plus 127 dog in Chelsea Chandler. I haven't really seen a lot of prediction channels going out there and saying Yana Santos is going to win, which is really, really weird, as Yana is the favorite for this fight, and I think she's the favorite for very, very good reason. She's a much, much better striker. She throws a lot more volume and lands with a lot more volume, especially with her leg kicks and her body shots. Boxing-wise and kickboxing-wise, Chelsea Chandler is so far below, in my opinion, than Yana Santos in this fight. I think Chandler, if she's going to win, it's going to be the way everyone's saying, getting the takedowns and grinding it out on the mat. I just saw Yana Santos fight Karol Rosa, and Karol really wasn't able to get it to the ground at really any moment throughout that entire fight. If Karol Rosa's not going to be able to, I don't think Chelsea Chandler is going to be able to in this fight. I think Yana's going to keep it on the feet for the full 3 rounds, and she just has much, much better striking than Chandler. I'm kind of debating this one because I am more confident in Karol than Pannie. But I'm trying to decide where I put Yana Santos, because I have her somewhere around that Youssef Zalal and Barlow range. Maybe a little bit less. Just a little bit less. Not a lot, but just a little bit. We're going to have her at 65%, just below Barlow as an almost confident pick. And then we got Chris Gutierrez, Kwang Lee in the UFC bantamweight division. I'm so sorry, Kwang Lee. I am actually rooting for you to go out there because you have deserved this shot in the UFC for a while. You took the opportunity on short notice, and you could very well go out there and shock the world and knock out Chris Gutierrez. But if you're not able to knock him out, I just can't see you winning when it hits the judges' scorecards, because Chris is so better technically, such a better kicker, throws more volume, and is just a much, much better striker. I don't think there's going to be any grappling or wrestling here, and yeah, Chris is just so far superior in my opinion. I feel very, very good about this pick. Again, if Kwang Lee goes out there and knocks him out, that's kind of the main way I'd see him going out there and getting the upset. But I'm going to have Chris Gutierrez as a 4-1 favorite over Kwang Lee in this fight. I feel very, very good about him. Damon Jackson, we have him at 55% right here on the confidence percentage. I don't know why we already have it on there, but that's exactly what I was thinking for Damon Jackson. He is going to be my least confident pick of the card so far at 55%. over Chepe Money Skull. Let's go a little bit lower. Let's go like 53% because I feel a little bit better with Luciano than I do with Damon Jackson. So 53% for Damon Jackson. Again, I think he keeps the striking really, really even, uses his height, uses his reach, has Chepe close the distance, and when he does, every single time mixing the wrestling, mixing the grappling, where I think once he gets Chepe down, I see Damon just keeping him there and controlling it there. Ground and pounding, attempting submissions, things like that. Chepe has never been submitted, so I do have it going all the way. 53% for my guy Damon Jackson. And then last but not least, the main event of the evening. Marcin Tybura taking on Sergey Spivac. In the heavyweight division, I'm not feeling good at all on a guy like Marcin Tybura. This is definitely in the 50% confidences for this UFC fight night, and I'm going to go right in between Stephanie Luciano and Karl Williams for a solid 55.5% confidence. Not feeling good at Marcin. That's low-level ranked heavyweights. Kind of just fighting for their spot in the rankings, just keeping it there. I see Marcin and Sergey staying in the spot in their rankings for the rest of their careers and then retiring, to be quite honest with you. But that's what I got. My confident picks, only 2 of them this week. Chris Gutierrez and Karol Rosa. My almost confident picks, we do have Youssef Zalal, Danny Barlow, Yana, Santos. And then for our 50-50s fights that could realistically go either way, Charalampos, Grigoriou, Karl Williams, Marcin Tybura, Stephanie Luciano, and Damon Jackson. Some fun fights, not a lot of them, but there are some, like Danny Barlow, Nikolay Veretennikov, Youssef Zalal, Jarno, Errens, Karol, Rosa, Pannie, Kianzad, Chris Gutierrez, Kwang Lee. It's very weird that all of my most confident picks are probably the funnest fights of the card. Very, very odd. Those are the confident picks. Thank you guys for watching. Again, comment your confident picks down below and check that pinned comment as well for all of my bets. Thanks for watching again, and we'll see you in the next one.